If you saw Monday's video, then you know that I've changed this channel's focus to be entirely on Warhammer. So what the heck even is Warhammer? Well, I thought I would give a primer to all of my existing subscribers and anyone that is interested on what exactly the game of Warhammer is. And if you stick around till the end, I'll talk a little bit about what the plans for specific videos for this channel are. Warhammer is a tabletop miniature war game that started in the 1980s. It's had many iterations, and we're not going to do a full history video here, so I'll just get straight to the point and let you know that there are two main Warhammer games that are played right now, which are 40K, the sci-fi one, and Age of Sigmar, the fantasy one. Now, those have a bunch of sub-games and kind of spin-off games, and there is also the discontinued Warhammer Fantasy Battle that is now back as Warhammer Old World. I'm not going to touch that subject, though, because I'm pretty new to the hobby, and I know it is a sensitive one. Regardless of the type of Warhammer that you play, you are going to be buying boxes of models and be putting them together with glue from little plastic pieces that they come in. You'll have to paint up those models, and then there'll be complex rules about how they work on the tabletop together. As one of my students so aptly put it during a recent tabletop gaming session for our school club, "Hey, this is just like playing a video game, except it's on this table." And there are Warhammer clubs all over the world, so if you want to play, you can probably find a group on Facebook or in Discord, and maybe you could go check out your local Games Workshop store or friendly local gaming store to see if they offer weekly Warhammer play. One huge disclaimer that I have to mention is how expensive Warhammer is. It can cost hundreds of dollars just to get all of your supplies and miniatures and paints and brushes and tools ready so that you can get into the hobby, and then it can cost thousands to actually complete your armies and start new ones. However, I will say that the time spent in the hobby is well worth it. The amount of hours you get from putting together your miniatures to painting them and to actually playing with them is seriously impressive, and I have no regrets on the money that I've spent so far. If you want to dip your toes into the hobby but don't want to spend any money, you could go to your local Games Workshop store and they will let you paint a model for free. You could also buy a $50 starter kit like I did, which comes with some models that push fit together, some paints and a brush, so that you can try out every single aspect of the hobby without actually spending too much money. I think this is generally a very good idea for people to see if they can actually get into the different aspects of the hobby before they decide to bankrupt their family. So let's talk about specifically why people might want to get into the hobby of Warhammer. And again, I'm not looking to go super in depth in this video, but we're going to cover a ton of different facets of the game. Whenever you buy a Games Workshop product, they're going to come unassembled on a plastic screw in many different little pieces, and that is one of the best parts about Warhammer. It's that you get to put it all together yourself and customize it however you like. Now, of course, you can just follow the instructions and build them up to the detail that is shown in the books, or you can customize them and put whatever pieces on whatever models you want, as long, if you're playing the game, it looks like what you're intending it to be on the table. And as you fill out your collection, you will have so many extra bits because these kits come with so many extra options that you will continuously have more and more options for customization. A lot of people tell me painting is the reason why they couldn't get into Warhammer, and I totally understand that. When I was in high school, I hated art class. I would actually throw out some of my projects. I just didn't want to hand them in. I thought they were that bad. And as embarrassing as that is, it was something that I was insecure about. So I definitely thought that I had no chance in hell at becoming a competent painter in the Warhammer hobby. But I'll have to say that I seriously surprised myself, and I keep on getting better the more I do it. And if you don't want to be super into painting, there are really fast ways to be able to paint your miniatures. There's contrast paints that do an incredible job with very little application, but you can also look up something called Slapchop, which produces incredibly high quality paint jobs with minimal effort. But if you ask me, you will surprise yourself once you get into the hobby and you start practicing. I know I have. That's right, you don't just have to paint and build, you also can play the actual game. And all you need are the rules, which are all online. You can find them on a few websites, but you can also buy some pretty rad hardcover books from Games Workshop that has the rules for the game and also the rules for your various factions that you might want to play. Now, I already spoke about where you might find some opponents if you want to play, But I guarantee you that when you find these people, they are going to be so excited that you are joining them and that they can add another member to their group. Everyone that I've met playing Warhammer has been so friendly, and I can't encourage people enough to go out and actually try it. I guarantee that you'll have a good time. Both Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar have versions where you only need a single box of miniatures in order to start playing the game. Combat Patrol is the 40k version, and Spearhead is the Age of Sigmar version, which launches in about a month, but that doesn't mean that you can't start building up and painting your box now. The lore in any of the Warhammer worlds is fantastic, and you can read a lot of free lore online or watch some really cool lore videos on YouTube. You can also get it in your faction's rulebook and the core rulebook for whatever game you are playing. Additionally, there are a ton of stellar black library books that you can get on your e-reader or get hard copies if you actually want to read them in your hands. Now, I've actually already read 2 black library books since I started the hobby, and I have a wish list of all the books that I'm going to get to in the future. I can't recommend them more. Warhammer lore is a very deep rabbit hole, so I want to apologize in advance for introducing you to it. Warhammer also has a ton of video games available for you to check out. A lot of them are on Steam, and many of them, I mean most of them, are set in the 40k universe, but there's also the Total War series based off in Fantasy Battle, and there are a few Age of Sigmar games here and there, but we're hoping for more in the future. So because you can play these games on Steam, keep on checking that Steam sale to see if you can get them on the cheap, because they do go on sale regularly. Finally, the community in Warhammer has been fantastic so far. I'm talking about locally, but also online. It's a very supportive community, and you can find a Reddit for basically every single game or lore topic or painting, whatever it is that you want to explore. There's a community out there waiting for you that wants to give you constructive criticism or just chat about what you thought was cool about the new and latest model. Now that we've covered what Warhammer is and why you could potentially check it out, let's talk about what this channel is going to do for content. So my hope is to journey into the hobby and share my entire experience. I only started last August, so I still have a long way to go in terms of my army progress, any new purchases that I might get, and whatever, projects that I'm currently working on. I also want to share information about the 4th edition of Age of Sigmar, because that's launching this summer. It's going to be really exciting, and there are lots of new rules and things that we can look at. So I'll be covering things like brand new, guides for new players. I'll be looking at faction guides, talking about each faction's lore and also each faction's playstyle and a little bit about their army if you want to play the actual game. And we'll also talk about lore in general. So hopefully, as I read more books, I can do some reviews and thoughts and, lore, synopsises of these books that I'm reading. All this and more is coming up soon, so I hope very much that you're looking forward to it, and I really appreciate it, even if you're not looking forward to it, that you came by and you watched this video. So thank you so much for that. And if you're going to get into Warhammer, or maybe you're already into Warhammer, then feel free to comment down below and we can chat about that. You can also access my Discord in the description for this video, and we can just start chatting about Warhammer. So otherwise, I'll see you all again in another video very soon. Thank you for watching this one.